All right, guys, welcome to episode number 7 here on the Movement Mindset Podcast. Chris Hardenberg here with Joe Pasalacqua, Brandon on the ones and twos. Brandino. Today, we are going to be talking nutrition. Basically, with this one, for how long now? 8 years, we've included nutrition guidance and nutrition help with our memberships and our challenges. And so we wanted to touch on, obviously, why is the nutrition so important? Why is nutrition mapped out for us the way it is? And kind of where we offer it to all of our members.
No, and this is like something that's so unbelievably important because we've always kind of, I know I have, and I know you're on board with this, is we've always kind of followed that, 30-70 rule of like the fitness is the fitness and you need the fitness to lose weight, gain mass, just getting your blood pressure under control, the whole nine. But if you don't add the nutrition, every single person will plateau.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially if you're on a weight loss journey. If you're looking to lose, 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds, the fitness, you will lose weight and you'll continue to lose weight. But if you don't fix the nutrition, eventually
you're going to
plateau out.
100%. That's why we include it.
Yeah, that's why we started including it in all the memberships. Was doesn't matter the thought process of what it is like if you don't have this as an intricate part of your program, and this is why we don't charge extra for it, because it is completely viably important for the success of the individual and the client to really hit whatever goal that is. Right?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the pieces of what that is. Something I want to kind of start with is when you look at the program like Weight Watchers has been around, I believe, for 80 years.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's been around for a long time, and all it is just macro counting.
Right.
And if you are new to this and you don't know what the term macro counting is basically you just counting the grams and the weight of items in food to be able to compound how much protein, carbs, and fat.
Yeah, your macronutrients.
Okay, your macronutrients. And that's how the plans have been always designed. So if you take a program like Weight Watchers, everything is in a point system.
Right.
But all it is just calorie counting.
Well, yeah, it's macro counting, but instead of you counting the protein, carbs, and fat yourself, they assign points to it to make it easier.
Correct. And we do something very similar
on
our meal plans where we group them, right? So as we're sitting and writing these, and again, these haven't been changed in about 8 years, right?
Yep.
So the reason why they use the Weight Watchers version is because of the fact that it is a very well-rounded nutrition program.
Yeah.
Okay. But really all it is calories in, calories out.
Yep.
It's kind of style, right? You want to lose weight, you're going to eat 13 or 1,400 calories based on their program, as an example.
Sure.
Okay. So when I was writing these and we started assigning foods and volumes, the perspective is everyone needs a different diet based on how much weight they want to gain, lose. Yeah. And again, based on how big they are.
Yeah.
Someone who's 6'3", who weighs, 280, is going to need a lot more food than somebody that weighs 130 pounds trying to lose 7 or 8 pounds.
Right. I mean, the same thing is you could have two people looking to lose weight. Both are 200 pounds. One's 25% body fat. One's 45% body fat. And they'll need different foods, right? Because fat doesn't need calories to support it.
No.
Right? And so if I'm almost half fat, I don't need as many calories as someone who's half that amount of fat. And so Joe kind of segmented really well because why it's important is CrossFit is big on this. I've heard it other places as well, is the body's like a machine, right? And so just like your car, if you put really poor gasoline in it, it's not going to run as well, right? And so with this, it's if you're going through your everyday life, this is why people who eat really poorly, are dragging at the end of the day. They have no energy. They don't sleep well. And then with working out, it's you want to work out to, like you said, lower blood pressure, build muscle mass, but maybe some people get achy joints. And it's well, you get achy joints because you have inflammation in your body because you eat like crap.
Bad food has a carbohydrate that we vary as a simple to a complex carb. And complex carbs carry a lot of sugar.
Right.
Unnatural sugar. So we're not talking fruit sugar. We're talking, if you're eating a lot of bread or pasta, right, it has complex carbs that have a significant amount of sugar, which causes everything Chris has talked about.
Right. And so, like Joe said, a lot of it is calories in, calories out, but it's also the food choices that you make. And so, for example, you could have someone who's eating the right amount of calories, but they're making it up of candy and pasta and stuff like that. And it's okay, yeah, calorically, you're where you need to be, but maybe why you have achy joints or inflammation or you're not as lean as you want to be in that case is because you're getting it from poor choices. On top of it, like Joe said, this is usually the biggest thing holding people back.
Yeah, so let's kind of talk about a little bit about the meal plans. Really, so we offer 4 different meal plans.
Right.
Okay. And it's all designed about what your individual goal is and then what your actual body composition is.
Yes.
So for instance, me and Chris are built very similar weight wise. I'm a little bit heavier than you, but like if we were going to go on a diet, it would be very, very similar.
Sure.
Right. So now let's take someone that weighs the same as us, right? Me and Chris are just under 6 feet tall. So let's take someone who's now 5'5" that weighs the same as us. They may not be on the same weight loss journey as us. So that's kind of why they were designed that way. And all it is a different amount of calories in the set categories. Okay. So how do you get people to follow meal plans?
Yeah.
Let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically the way we address it is everyone who comes into our program starts in our 6 weeks, right? That's when we get started. And so they would get what we call our phase 1 meal plan. And so like Joe said, we try to make it super easy where although we're not doing points, everything's color coded. So even if you don't know anything about protein, carbs, and fats, guess what? In your circle on your meal plan, the red part, that's the protein, says you need 1, go to the list, pick 1. That's it.
When we designed these, I was like, I want to make this to where a 5-year-old could understand
100%.
this. Because dieting can be confusing.
Sure.
It could be when when people are like, oh, use my fitness app or like I'm going to do this macro counting. When they give you too many options, it becomes very overwhelming, especially when
100%.
it's a new thing for you.
Right.
So like, this is why in the plans, we offer a lot of transition items, not just, hey, you got to cut all this out and you got to move to this.
Right.
So an example of that, is we've spoken about this before, is like, it literally says in the meal plan as a drink selection, you can use something that has,
Like diet soda.
like a diet soda or something that has like a sugar alcohol like feature in it for like, transition you in. Is that the end goal? Absolutely not. Right. But then we lay out the exact amount of like which items to pick on protein.
Right.
What veggies you should have, because again, there's some variations to that. So we really want people to understand is like, we want to teach them in phase 1, what we would consider a well-rounded diet based on eating good, nutritious, whole food.
Yes.
Right. And it can be restrictive. We're not saying that there's not things that you can put on there, but when people try to add things too soon, we typically tell them no, because we want them to literally go through this, and then we have our phase 2 that's on top of that.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, right, like no food is really a protein, right? Like no food is just a carb, right? One of the things on our carb list is beans for people who are not vegan or vegetarian, right? There's protein in beans. But again, like you said, this is where people get too caught up in the weeds. It's like, guys, this person in front of us isn't even eating vegetables yet, right? Like, so we're gonna start with eating broccoli, and they could think that chicken is just protein, and that's fine, because at the end of the day, if they're getting all that in, they're gonna see results. And then if they see results, they're gonna stay. And then if they stay, we can educate them more on nutrition going forward.
Exactly. And we're big believers of, if you follow these diets to a T, and I'm talking 7 days a week, they're really difficult to follow.
Yeah.
So all of our salespeople, all our GMs, we always push the issue of like, hey, listen, if you can follow this, 5 days a week and maybe have like one bad day, but like really make sure you're staying away from drinking. If you're a beer drinker, if you're drinking, vodka or whatever it is, give them options to where they understand that they can still have like an enjoyable life.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like I'm eating, rice and fish every day for eternity. I always feed myself. Right. If that was the factor. So it's understanding that these are the items that you need to be eating and understand why you're eating them, how they fit into your measurements. Okay. So now let's kind of slingshot this. Okay. A lot of places that give nutrition, here's a great example is, let's say you hire a nutritionist, right? They tell you to go stand on a scale, but what information are they using to be able to leverage helping you or really holding you accountable? Because people lie about eating shit all the time.
100%.
Right? I can't tell you the amount of times people come in and we measure them, right? So what I'm getting at is we utilize the InBody scale for like the last 8 years. We have them at all of our locations. It's in my opinion, one of the most important tools in our industry.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't have one as a gym owner, if you're listening to this, I would highly recommend you make the investment in this machine.
Oh yeah.
Because it is the most powerful tool on the nutrition side that you could possibly use. And here are the reasons why. Right. And Chris, if I'm missing anything, please.
Yeah.
Number 1 is we get weight.
Yep.
Number 2 is I get body composition of where it's located, right? So body composition as in like how much muscle tissue you have, how much body fat you have, right? Your water mass, et cetera, right? It gives you different readings of something as simple as BMI versus body composition index, right? We don't follow BMI.
No.
Because I think it's a crock of shit because me and Chris are considered obese on a BMI scale, right? And that's not the purpose of it. But it also tells you your visceral fat levels and some other really key things. But why we really utilize this is because every week in your 6-week intro,
Yep.
okay, or if you're doing an internal challenge with us, right?
Yeah, every week.
Or if you're just a member that's checking their weight every month, because we allow people to check their weight every single month with no cost to them. This scale is included in what they're getting. It gives you a track of how you're doing every single time.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just use an example. Run through for everyone to understand is week 1, what do they do? Okay. And then talk about the weekly check-ins.
Yeah. So like in the challenge, right, we give you the meal plan. Like I said, it's color-coded, super easy to follow. It's all portioned around your size. And then, we offer vegan and vegetarian styles as well. So regardless of your lifestyle, what you're doing, you get a meal plan. Then week 1, you do your thing, you follow the meal plan, you do your workouts, and you step on the scale at the end of the week. Again, it's super important and powerful from an accountability standpoint because I can't tell you how many people swear up and down that they're following the meal plan to a T. They step on the scale and it allows the general manager to be like, well, you didn't really get results here. Like, what's going on?
It's impossible for them to lie to you.
Right.
The point being is when we were running the challenges together, right? There would be people that were, I hate to say it like this, like severely obese, right? And they've been heavy their entire lives. They want to make a change. They come in, they're taking classes, and then they come in and they didn't lose 1 fucking pound.
Right.
Right. And it's has nothing to do with the program not working. It's calling them out and holding them accountable on like, you are not eating what you're supposed to be eating.
Right.
Okay. And if they swear to it, the scale does not lie.
Right.
If your body fat percentage didn't go down, but you are swearing that you're doing a calorie deficit diet.
Right.
And this is why we don't give people calories and like, hey, you want to eat 2,000 calories. We don't do that because we don't want to complicate it. It's 100%. Like, did you eat these measurements?
Yes. And we make it really easy where it's like 6 ounces of chicken is 1 serving. So you just throw it on a scale, you eat it, you're done. Now, we make it even easier where if you're out at a restaurant or the scale measurements stress you out, at the top from meal plan next to protein, it says palm. So it's like, okay, I'm out at a restaurant with my family. Is the protein the size of my palm? Cool, that's roughly about the amount of protein that I need. Is it 100% accurate? Obviously no, but at the same time, it's like, it allows people to have a well-rounded diet because that's something you even touched on very briefly, but it's super important. With our meal plans, we address protein, carbs, fat. And with vegetables, obviously, we say you can eat as many as you want. But the number of people who come in are like, I tried intermittent fasting, I tried keto, I tried this, I tried that. And it's like, guys, you are putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, we were literally just talking about this right before we hopped on air with this.
Yeah.
We were literally just talking about how, one of my former employees used to they would just crash diet all the time. And he would lose 15 pounds, but it's like, when he listens, he's gonna laugh at this. But like, he's just like, he would just go eat, he would be a carnivore diet. And he would just eat like pounds and pounds of cold cuts.
Yeah.
Right. And beef jerky. And that's all he would eat the whole day.
Right.
Right. But it's like, you can't sustain that long term because there's no balance.
Right. And that
It's
was
creating balance in the meal plans, which create long-term results.
Right. I mean, a great example and one that always frustrates me is the whole keto craze, right? Because people will say like, oh, I'm keto. But what most people don't realize is, A, you don't really know if you're in ketosis, which is what keto is based on, without blood work. So if you're not taking blood work, you have no idea. Yeah. The other thing is your carb count has to be so low that essentially your body is converting proteins into carbohydrates as fuel, right? Your body's trying to survive. Your brain operates on carbohydrates. And so in order to survive, it says, I got to pull sugar from anywhere. So they pull it from your protein. And so it's like, it's this whole thing where people think they're doing something when in reality, it's like, you're just in this. I mean, people say all the time, oh, I'm in that keto fog. You want to have brain fog? Like, no. The problem is most people eat too many carbs or they get it from the wrong places. So they go all the way the other direction. It's like, no, dude, you need carbs for what we do in the gym.
It doesn't help either when you have these shredded guys and girls.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm keto. I'm like, I guarantee they're doing macro counting.
Right.
And they're selling you something.
Right.
Right. That's really what it comes down to. Right. Is, again, understanding, simplify it for the everyday person that does not understand nutrition, or if they do, or they think they do, educate them of why this is designed the way it's designed.
Right.
For people, sign up for our intro course, right? Or in our internal challenge, have actual real results and be like, wow, this actually worked.
Right.
And this was really simple for me to learn.
Right.
Do we have people that fall off? Oh, yeah,
Of
listen,
course.
right?
We're not perfect.
You're not perfect, and you're not going to get people to listen to you if they're not willing to learn.
Right.
Right. That's all it comes down to.
Right.
And it's no different when you and me learned nutrition.
100%.
There's no difference of like trial and error. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Right. It's like I wanted to gain weight for a long time, and I tried all these different things, but all it came down to was I just needed to eat more protein.
Yeah.
And control where my fats and carbs are coming from.
Right.
Right. That's literally all it came down to. Again, when you leverage the nutrition fact and then the in-body, and then the third piece here is the accountability.
Right. And so you have the general managers reaching out to these people on a weekly basis. So essentially, I'm in the challenge, I'm following my meal plan, I do my weigh-in, boom, now I have my general manager, reaching out to me and say, hey, good weigh-in, nice job, this is what you did, or hey, we struggled this week, or you missed your weigh-in. And so that, again, every step of the way keeps me accountable to actually following the meal plan. Because I find that for most people, essentially learning how to eat this way is a skill, right? I have to learn how to map out my day, how to map out my week, how to change my behavior. But it gets easier once I start seeing results. It's like, just like coming to the gym, it gets easier to show
get into it.
Yes.
Like, oh, wow, this is really working. This isn't that difficult.
Right.
And look what it's doing for me now.
Right. And so that level of accountability helps keep people on that. And so we do that over the course of the entire 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, let's say, is doing the 6 weeks. You leave. The very next thing you get is what we call our phase 2 meal plan. All right. So everyone gets this, I'll say, offered to them at least at the end of the 6 weeks. And essentially what this is very similar to the phase 1 meal plan, except we put in more metrics to maybe dial it in a little bit more. It allows people maybe a little bit more carbs and a little bit more fat into their diet and much more food choices. And the reason why we do that is because, again, phase 1 is to form the base. Hey, we restrict you a lot to make sure you're making good choices.
Yes.
And now we're going to open things up a little bit, right? Because you've earned that. And now it's like, okay, cool. You've learned on how to navigate these things. And so now they get the phase 2 meal plan. And like Joe said, we suggest that you weigh in once a month. If someone wanted to weigh in a second time or third time, not a big deal.
And we see this with a lot of gyms that are starting to include the in-body. This is actually in-body's fault.
Okay.
Because in-body advertises, add this as an add-on at your location.
Right.
Right. Just so everyone understands, and we'll talk frank about this, it's a hospital grade scale. Mm-hmm. It costs $10,000.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I understand the concept of, hey, we're going to add this and we're going to charge, I've seen anywhere from $25 to $50 a weigh-in.
Right.
Right. But why not build a program around the machine where people get to utilize it and really see the results? In essence, it will pay for itself.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, like, we don't want to talk about business too much on this podcast, but just to give you an idea from the business side, the reason why people do it is like, okay, I've invested $10,000 in, I have to find a way to make $10,000.
Because that's all they think about is it's, okay, I just dished this money out. Now I need to make back $10,000 just to break even.
Right.
Okay, but like, well, what is it doing for your program is what it should be. It's no different than if we're doing strength training, and let's just hypothetically, we need kettlebells.
Yeah.
When I buy kettlebells for a location, I'm not thinking about, I need to make back the couple $1,000s I just spent. It's what it does for your program and your offer and the client experience.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say is like, they look at it in the short term. It's like, okay, hey, I need to charge $40 a weigh-in so I can eventually make back 10 grand, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to build this into my program, because if I build it into my program, this member was going to stay, let's say, an extra 6 months. And if I do that with all my membership, it pays for itself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we touched this really briefly, right? And this will be a future episode of like client acquisition timeline of how long someone stays with us.
Yeah.
So when me and Chris look at this purchase, again, 10 grand, but people stay with us for an average of 1.2 to 1.6 years. In essence, it does pay for itself.
100%.
Because we don't have people coming in for 2 months and be like, this sucks, I'm out of here.
Right, because we've built it into the program to help people get results, to help show them results where they're like, okay, I want to stick around. So
again, the point of this was we're not trying to talk about like a business piece of it,
but
I want people to understand why I utilize it and why we put it in all of our locations. And our program is designed literally around the machine, and the nutrition plans go hand in hand.
Right.
And you are allowed to use it as much as frequently as you want.
Right. And so then phase 2, we suggest people follow it, 2 months. They could follow it longer than that. I've had people follow it for years, right? So they follow it for 2 to 3 months. After you nail that down, you can receive what we call our phase 3 meal plan, which essentially is very similar to the phase 2, but again, more dialed in metrics, more food offerings, but outside of that, it offers actually macros at the top. And the reason why that's important is you've now gone through 2 phases. You understand a lot of this stuff. So we want to give you the macro numbers. So you who have been following our meal plans for, let's say, 6 months at this point, might have the tools to say, all right, hey, I'm going out to get ice cream with my family. Nothing wrong with that. Get ice cream. But now I know how to factor that into my macros to then adjust the rest of my day to make sure I'm not overeating.
Correct.
But that only happens because we did phase 1 and 2 first.
You educate them some more.
Yes.
And now they should technically be able to outline it themselves.
Yes.
Okay. And something we're working on, and again, some people do have really individual goals.
Sure.
Right? So where like if say someone's going to do bodybuilding show or someone's like wants to compete in CrossFit or something like that, we're in the process of adding a 4th level, which is the individual actual nutrition piece. And we'll get into that in the future.
Yeah.
But again, the design here is, we talked about this in our very first episode, is we offer a complete package for this very reason.
Right.
Because we want people to not go, okay, I'm getting my fitness from Station Athletics. Okay, great. I'm going to work with this person on my nutrition.
Right.
I'm going to work on my programming from this person.
Right.
There is no fucking point to have to do that.
Right.
You should get everything in-house. And if you're not getting that, you should be asking why you're not.
Right. And not only why am I not getting it, but if I want these things, do I have to go outside? But if I can get it inside, why do I have to pay an extra $200 to get this stuff?
Exactly.
Right? Like, why is this not included in my, if it's so important,
Yes.
why is this not included in my membership? So that kind of gives you guys a full scope of what we do nutrition wise. And like Joe said, we're working on mapping out our phase 4, which is going to be individualized nutrition coaching, which will be coming. And so we'll have 4 solid phases that anyone at any level, any experience in fitness can get the nutrition guidance that they need to get to where they want to go.
And it's all about consistent progress.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what level you are. Like Chris said, it's all about if you are brand new at this or you're aged and you're looking to move forward. That's why we do that.
Yeah, guys, if you're interested in nutrition or you're a member at one of our gyms and maybe you're like, man, I knew this was available, or maybe you didn't know it was available and I need to get things dialed in, talk to your general manager. This is why we run internal challenges, right? Because a lot of people need that reset of like, I need the additional accountability. I need someone to hold my hand again for 4 weeks. So get involved in an internal challenge. Talk to your general manager about getting this nutrition guidance.
Even if you just have one-off questions.
That's it.
You know, everyone's there designed to help you. If you have a nutrition question of, hey, I'm trying to do this, I fell off.
They're there to help.
That's what they're there for. It's everything is, that's the point of the full package.
For sure. So, and then for more content like this, guys, as always, like and subscribe to us. We'll see you on the next one.